Hello everyone, dear friends. Today I'm going to share with you a recipe for an amazingly delicious, light, and vibrant dessert. It's made from the most basic ingredients, and anyone can make it because it's as easy as can be. All in all, this cake is pure pleasure. If you're like me and love to cook, always looking for something new and original, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you get notifications about new videos. To start, I pour cold water over 25 grams of instant gelatin. You'll need 50 milliliters. Mix everything thoroughly until you get a smooth consistency. Set the gelatin aside to let it swell. In the meantime, I'll take care of the dried fruits. Today, I'm going to use 3 types for the cake. Pour warm water over the dried cranberries. I won't soak the dried apricots and prunes since they're already soft enough. The prunes I have today are dry. For the cake, you'll need 150 grams of each type of dried fruit. Cut the dried apricots into pieces about 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. It's not necessary to use exactly these dried fruits. You can use the ones you like or whatever you have on hand. Do the same with the prunes, cutting them into small pieces. The dried fruits are ready. Now I'll move on to the next step. For this, I'll need 350 grams of cottage cheese. Today I used 5% fat, but any fat content of cottage cheese will work for this recipe. I also take sour cream, exactly 500 grams here. I add it to the cottage cheese. The fat content, just like with the cottage cheese, doesn't matter. You can also use thick yogurt in the same amount. I'll add sugar. I took 120 grams. That's 6 tablespoons without a heat. For a pleasant taste and aroma, a packet of vanilla sugar. I have 10 grams. Using a blender, I mix these ingredients until smooth. You need to get rid of all the lumps and achieve a creamy, smooth texture. The whole process will take about 5 minutes, no more. If you don't have a blender, you can first press the cottage cheese through a sieve or run it through a meat grinder and then mix it with the other ingredients. So the mixture is ready, and by this time the gelatin has swelled nicely. I'll melt it in the microwave for 20 to 25 seconds. You can also do this using a double boiler. I immediately add the melted gelatin to the main mixture, and now, using a mixer, I mix everything together really well. If you're worried that lumps might form when adding the gelatin to the main mixture, you can first add a small amount of sour cream and cottage cheese to the gelatin, mix it, and then add this mixture to the main batch. Well, everything is ready now. I've also prepared the mold. In my case, it's a ring mold. I've set the diameter to 16 centimeters. I covered the bottom with foil, and inside I put a piece of parchment so that later the cake doesn't stick to the foil itself. I also always use acetate film for the sides to make things easier for myself, and so I can easily remove the dessert from the ring later. So, everything is ready now. And today I'll also need lavash. I have 7 of these round pieces, each 16 centimeters in diameter. I take the first sheet of lavash and place it on the bottom of the mold. On top of the lavash, I spread half of the prunes from the total amount. Using a fork or a spoon, I distribute the pieces of prune evenly over the entire lavash base. I try to do this as evenly as possible. Then I cover the lavash with prunes with a layer of sour cream and cottage cheese cream. For each layer, you'll need about 2 to 3 tablespoons of this cream. I spread everything carefully. Next, I place the next sheet of lavash on top and adjust everything slightly. There's no need to press anything down. On top of his layer, I spread half of the dried apricots from the total amount and distribute them over the lavash as well. Then comes another layer of the sour cream and cottage cheese cream. Again, you should spread it evenly. Then I cover everything with a 3rd sheet of lavash. You can press this lavash down just a little bit, just a tiny bit, but only a little. I want to emphasize that. On top of the 3rd sheet, I put half of the cranberries from the total amount. I've already drained all the water from them beforehand. Next comes another layer of the sour cream and cottage cheese cream. Now I repeat the same steps. I lay down another sheet of lavash, and on top of it, I put the second half of the prunes. I cover them, in turn, with the cream. And in this way, I keep alternating. I add the second half of the dried apricots and also cover all of that with the cream. And on the last sheet of lavash, I put the remaining cranberries. I cover the cranberries on top with cream and smooth everything out well. As you can see, the cake turns out quite tall, but it will look very beautiful. I cover the cake on top with the last 7th sheet of lavash. And at this stage, you could basically stop and put the cake in the fridge, but I want it to look more festive and elegant. That's why I'm going to make, let's say, a sour cream layer for the top. For this, I pour 5 grams of instant gelatin with 20 milliliters of cold water. Again, I mix everything thoroughly and set the gelatin aside for 5 minutes to swell. Next, you'll need 200 grams of sour cream, which can also be replaced with thick yogurt. Add 20 grams of sugar to it. That's 1 tablespoon without a heap. Using a fork or a whisk, mix everything well until smooth. By this time, the gelatin has already swelled. I'll melt it in the microwave for 20 to 25 seconds. After that, I add the prepared, melted gelatin to the sour cream mixture and, using a fork or again a whisk, mix everything well until smooth. Well, friends, the sour cream glaze is ready. I pour it over the top of the cake. Since the mixture is quite liquid, it spreads out evenly and the cake turns out smooth and beautiful on top. And, of course, the decoration. Since today we're making a cake with dried fruits, I'll decorate with dried fruits as well. Pieces of dried apricot, prunes, and cranberries. In my case, this is exactly how I'm decorating it. I randomly arrange these pieces all over the top of the cake, and you can slightly press them into the sour cream layer so they stick better to the cake. There we go. At this stage, my cake is completely ready, and it will need some time to set. So I put it in the fridge for 5 hours. But if you have the opportunity, leave it in the fridge overnight. And after a night, in my case, the cake is absolutely ready. Of course, it has set perfectly thanks to the gelatin. Let's remove the ring and take off the plastic wrap. You can transfer the finished cake onto a serving plate. Just look at how beautiful and unique this cake looks. It looks so gorgeous and incredibly colorful. But I can't wait to see what this cake looks like inside. Let's cut it. It cuts just perfectly. Both the lavash layers and all the pieces of dried fruit slice through beautifully. The same goes for the sour cream layer. Look at how bright and original a slice of this cake looks when cut. All the layers are clearly visible, and that's a real treat for the eyes. You can make this cake for special occasions or just to delight your family on regular days. It's very, very tasty and just as healthy. I recommend making it and treating your loved ones, and of course, yourself. The combination is simply flawless. Delicious dried fruits, an equally tasty sour cream and cottage cheese layer, and of course, thin sheets of lavash. The finished cake weighs 1 kilogram and 850 grams. I want to remind you that the quantities of all the ingredients, as well as the diameter of the pan and the final weight of the cake, are already listed in the description below the video. Friends, I would be very happy if you like my recipe and this video. Give it a like and leave your comments. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to wish you positivity. Cook with pleasure.